Hello and welcome to the show. I am here today back on BeamNG Drive with a very simple challenge. We are going to try and jump the canyon again. The way this works, we start from this signpost here. This is our start point. We must accelerate the cars from there down this road to, well, this broken bridge, this jump. The goal is to land the vehicle on the other side in a condition in which it can still drive. Got to be able to go forward and steer left and right. I mean, vaguely, it doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as it can make left and right turns, that will count. So it's kind of an acceleration test and a little bit of a survivability test as well for some of the faster cars. We need, I can't remember how fast it was. Each vehicle's going to get 3 goes, sorry, I should say. First go's going to be flat out, the others can be adjusted depending on how fast it is going. We need, I think it's about 116 miles an hour to be safe. Over here we've got the Sega here to begin, a relatively high spec one here. We've got a turbo on it, it's got a decent chunk of power. It's not going quick enough, 110 is a bit slow. Oh, it might survive. Oh, didn't survive, lost a drive shaft, lost the engine. Almost. Is an almost completed jump for the Sega. It might, so it might be able to do it. Don't know. Steering's surprisingly quite good considering that flips down the road a lot. It's gonna hit. I can't really get it much faster. I mean, it spins the wheels up off the start line a little bit, but it's not gonna be. Oh, that might even be a slightly worse start than last time. What I'm thinking is our best bet for survival is going to be try and position the landing differently. We're going to go a little bit more to the left here, see if it's a slightly smoother... Oh, we twisted. That may be bad. It may be good, actually. Yeah, okay, it's actually... Oh, lost a drive shaft again. I was going to say, the twisting might have been good if it could have landed on the roof. So, I want it to land upside down. If we land on the roof, that does damage to bodywork and doesn't... Well, in theory, doesn't damage the engine or the drive shaft. Those are the soft, squishy bits that will total the car. The roof doesn't matter too much if it gets caved in. Okay, so taking the jump, going to the left, we had it rolled, which wasn't exactly helpful. I'm gonna try maybe sticking to the right. I think either side, I think the car tends to roll, and I don't know whether we want to roll it or not particularly. Let's go. We're going to go more to the it's gone very nose down there. Okay, this might actually be helpful. No, it broke the engine again. The drive shaft did survive this time around, but the engine locked up. It's just not quite quick enough. As I said, it's about 110 we're leaving, 109, 110 we're leaving the jump, and that's just not quite enough to get a smooth landing. The rear seats have popped out of where the windscreen would be. Has it collapsed it? It has hit the roof quite hard, actually, on that one. Yeah, if we rolled it, if we could get it to land on its roof, maybe it might be possible. I mean, you could do it a bunch of times. Maybe once you'd be lucky, and the shock of the impact not break the engine, but it's the initial impact it's okay with. It's the secondary landing that's kind of what shatters everything on the car. A good effort, a good starting point for this episode, and a good effort from the saga. Up next, we have got a Bastow. Now, this is the kind of highest spec road Bastow, if you like. There are some racing and drag racing ones and all of that kind of thing, but this is a more normal road spec Bastow. But it is about the power I'm going to get out of it as a sort of a road car. Now, the concern with it, I would say, is twofold. We do, first of all, have to be able to get the speed. This should hopefully be able to do it. The secondary concern, and this is the big one, is the drive shaft. The Bastow, the last time I've really experimented with it, the Bastow is notoriously unreliable in terms of the drive shaft snapping. Oh, we're about the same speed as the Saga. Oh, that's a bad landing. Oh dear. The engine's been fired into the cabin. Oh God, I don't think I've ever managed to do that before. Holy crap. That is astonishing. That is actually incredible. The gearbox is pointing vertically up out of the... That is... In some ways, that is one of the most impressive crashes I've ever done on this game. In a very, very, I say, peculiar way. I mean, the whole thing is folded. I mean, that is... Right, I'm going to flip the car over. It's, funnily enough, not working. The gearbox is literally poking out of the roof here. It has completely folded the front subframe underneath. Wow. That is incredible. It's folded the whole subframe, so the engine's at a 90-degree angle from where it should be. That's about as bad as it gets. So yeah, we got the jump, but I think we landed on this edge, that serrated edge, and the Saga I think was landing here and bouncing. Now the land here is bad, but you bounced over and could survive. Landing on there, I think we just like caught that corner on the car. And that's what's done that damage to the engine. Jeez, that is a big hit. I mean, that's half the fun of this series. Okay, Bastow, it's not got the pace I was hoping it would have. I was hoping it was going to be going a bit quicker than that when we got to the ramp. I mean, yeah, as far as approaches go, we have no other option, of course, other than to be... Why are we not going up gears? My gears have stopped. Hold on. It just stopped going up gears. Right, let's try again. I don't know why that decided the gearbox was just going to stop working. Yeah, that's very peculiar. Okay, that doesn't count because that was a weird technical malfunction. Okay, now if I'm going to go again. We're going to aim for a little bit further to the left. I'm hoping we can bounce. That's good. This is about to be bad. Yeah, the drive shaft's gone. It was a better bounce. I mean, it's really crushed the roof in. The engine did survive. The front subframe is again very, very buckled. Not as heavily as it was last time. It's not surprising the drive shaft has snapped when you look at the state this car has ended up in. I just can't see how we're going to survive this. Can't see how we're going to survive this jump with this car. Because even if we get the bounce, it's not strong enough. The Saga wasn't strong enough to survive, and that has got, well, had a stronger drive shaft than this thing. As a Bastow notoriously weak on the old drive shaft front. We could go for something a bit erratic here. Okay, I'm going to try something. It's a bit wacky. I'm hoping we're going to get enough speed to do this. Oh, no. No. We weren't going to make it anyway, so my goal was to land the car on the side and have it bounce and roll, so it'd land on the... I've made it worse. It's not actually still not as painful as the first one. I don't think. I'm not sure, though. Oh, that is quite bad, isn't it? Wow, look at the state of the chassis. Yeah, so that got clipped sort of side on. We've made funny shapes out of it, but oh no, there's barely anything holding it together at this point. I think we might have actually cut the car in half now trying to shuffle it. I wanted to try and put the back on this bit here on the floor and have the front up in the air, but I guess because the engine's so heavy, it's always going to just flip over, or flop over more likely. That is again another massive hit. I don't think it mattered what I did with that car. I think it was always going to fail. My idea... It was a solid idea, but it just caught and dug in. Again, that lip. Shredding the car. The Bastow, spectacular damage. Definitely not making the jump. Now, I was going to have a go with Kevin, but the thing is, Kevin doesn't have a huge amount of engines, so you're never really going to get very much power. What does get some engines and some interesting options is the talent. Now, we have got many horsepower. In fact, this spec reckons there's 200 horsepower in this, while still being rear-wheel drive. Hold on. That's a funny noise. Right, let's see what this can do. Will this have the speed? Possibly. Will it have the control to get to that speed? Actually, it's not as uncontrollable as I feared. So first run has to be flat out. We're going to go sailing over this. Okay. Oh, it does a backflip. That might help it, actually. The fuel tank is gone. Okay, the backflip's not the worst thing in the world. It's broken. I mean, it's broken the rear toe angle massively. But on the most part, the Talent survives a full send and a flip. Okay, I mean, we were like 120, and we even have enough. I mean, it survived with relatively good steering. Survived very well, actually. Really, outside of the ruptured fuel tank, that is minimal damage in the grand scheme of things. Now, that was going very, very fast. 120 plus miles an hour normally overshoots you. I am slightly, I say concerned. We're going to try and do this with less damage. Now, we're aiming for about 118 miles an hour as we leave the ramp as a test this time around. Right, here we go. Oh, gone a little bit, I lifted a little bit too long. Yeah, see, that's the problem. If we go slower, ooh, whatever happens, it's going to flip. So you actually have to go a lot faster with this, because that has completely shredded the Talent. We were going a tiny bit too slow, but a car that flies through the air normally, that would probably have still made it. It might have had a bit of an awkward landing, but it probably would have still made it. I think the Talent, you pretty much have to boot it. I don't think we've got another option. I mean, we've already made it. So, yeah, maybe like a tiny little bit of a lift. I wonder if... So what I'm going to try this time around, as we leave the ramp, I'm going to grab the brakes. I'm going to try and rotate it even more in the air. Okay, we have a little bit of a lift. Oh, that was peculiar. It survived it a lot better, though. It flew flat and level. Grabbing the brakes, I got it to fly flat and level for a bit. Or was it... actually, yeah, I guess... Maybe the brakes, by grabbing the brakes, we did help keep the vehicle down for a bit. I mean, as far as a jump goes, that is very, very, very good. The Talent, it behaves strangely in the air, but that can be to its advantage in some ways. I mean, the engine is in the back, and I'm surprised. I guess the bodywork, the framework took the brunt of that, and then we got back on our wheels before the engine got damaged. That is a big surprise. Flying through the air funky, maybe not a crazy surprise with this style of vehicle. How well it survived, though, I'm impressed. The Talent is the first vehicle today. Not only does it make a gloriously silly noise, it is surprisingly competent when it comes to jumping the canyon. The next vehicle to take on the jump, we have got a van. We've got the Curiosity Caravan. There we go. I'm curious about this one. Again, this is an unmodified spec. I know you can get thousands of horsepower with the V8s in this and so on, but we've gone for the standard spec of this. The question will be, can it hit the required speed? It's going to be close, but I think it's that 110. That's that dangerous area. Oh dear. We've shredded the bodywork off it. Oh no. Okay. That is honestly quite impressive. The body's come off very cleanly as well. The body has come off incredibly cleanly on this one. I mean, look at that. Is it completely free? Yeah, it's actually come off entirely free. There. Oh, I've pulled the wing off of it. Well, that is one way to remove the body shell, I guess. So, the problem was, we weren't quite going quick enough. We're hitting a different lip this time. This little sort of section is what's grabbing the van. How are we going to avoid that? Is a good question here. Do I try... I feel like the twisting technique would work if I can get it to land in between the gaps. I'm going to try aiming for the other side. Now, it might want to roll if I do. Oh, God, we've lost the back end anyway. Well, I guess we're going to find out the twisting technique. Oh, nope, it's just shredded. Okay. I was just trying to move it across, and the bumps got the better of it. It actually started moving around on the bumps, and it chucked it sideways. I guess we got the answer to how that one there was going to go. Again, it caught the same lip. Do we want to See, I'm thinking, my thinking here is we want to hit here. If we can hit that bit and bounce over, we'll worry about the rest of the crash later. Going for the approach that we are at the moment, what we're going to do, this is a risky call, is I'm going to try and actually lose a tiny bit of speed. So what we're going to do, we've not got big enough wheels and we've not got enough in-air, you know, momentum to be able to do anything with this. But what I'm going to do is, just as we get to the very top of the hill, I'm going to lift off slightly. I'm aiming. No, still jumped too far. Still jump. I mean, I don't know whether it would have survived anyway, because you'd hit at a horrible angle. I'm actually going faster than I thought it was going in that. But yeah, it's not quite quick enough, and I think because there's so much weight, it is very easy for it to shred itself on these cracks. The van is definitely not. We have seen vehicles sort of survive bounces and so on, but the van is, yeah. Fun to shred the van in the off the canyon jump, but that is not going to make it unless you just get an absolutely perfectly positioned bounce. And then even if we hit here and then bounced, you're going to get a lot of airtime. You're going to bounce over there all the way down here, and you could well still wreck the vehicle. Good effort from the van, but it's not going to make it. We have a touring car up next. This is the Arima AS100, I think. Not quite sure on everything, but it is, well, it's a it's a Japanese touring car. I've forgotten how it was labelled now. Hopefully it should be fast enough. We shouldn't have problems with speed. The one issue we may have is problem with very, very stiff suspension. However, if we're going quick enough, which it looks like this will, so first run is flat out, always is for all the vehicles, we will clear 120 mile an hour. Oh, it's lovely. It is absolutely perfect on that one. Little heavy on the landing. Ooh, let's try and bring it. Ooh, and it got a little bit bounced around. Trying to slow down. It is a nasty landing zone, so I'd try not to lock the brakes up completely. It got bounced around. We maybe jumped a little bit long. We were probably a couple of miles an hour too fast in that 120 we left the ramp at. So we did hit the ground quite hard. Broke the oil pan. A little bit more damage after the finish line as well. Or after the landing, I should say. But it's looking promising. It's looking promising here. We should be able to do this. So the trick will be to just shrug off a tiny little bit of speed as we get to the bottom. It's a difficult one to balance, of course, because if you lift off too soon, like you can lift off here at like 118, but then you've got to actually accelerate again because you are suddenly going uphill. Oh, perfect. There we go. It is 100% perfect for the car. I mean, you couldn't do it better than that, I don't think. We just skimmed. I mean, it was super close. It was super, super close on the... Well, I say on the landing, because you literally, to get it perfectly, you skim over. I think it was this section here. You kind of skim over. Could have very easily have caught on it, but that is an absolutely perfect. The only tiniest bit of damage, and I mean, you're going to have to look really, really hard, is on that corner there of the bumper. It's ever so slightly come away. That's it. Like, that's it for 116 mile an hour jump. Nicely done. Nicely done. The Japanese cars are having one hell of a day here. Up next, we have got a Moonhawk. This is the sort of V8 special. We've got a supercharged V8 in this one. We saw what happened to the Bastow. This should be faster, in theory. What's going to happen on the landing is anyone's guess. It says it's got very heavy-duty suspension, which is going to be useful here. Oh god, we've got to keep control of the car though, of course, on the approach. So run number one has to be flat out. We are going to hit 124 miles an hour. Bit too big, bit too far on the jump, but it will land, it will survive, it does make it. Yeah, a crunching blow on the landing. We will spin the car around and avoid any further damage. Yeah, the drive shaft survives. I would worry that sort of hit up, even if the Bastow did that jump. I think the Bastow would have shattered the drive shaft. The Moonhawk we know is a little bit stronger. It can take that. I mean, you could see the bowing that goes on from the chassis there when it hits that hard. But a pretty good jump indeed. There's so much power and torque in this car. We shouldn't actually have too many issues, I don't think, in getting this one right. Again, we want to aim for that 116, 117 mile an hour mark here. So we will kind of just lift off the throttle a little bit here, boot it again. We might have actually, yeah, it has got so much power and torque. Oh, it damaged the oil pan. To be fair, there's a lot of weight at the front of this, of course. Very big, heavy engine in the Moonhawk. And that may sort of tip the front down. We were maybe a mile an hour or two too fast. I mean, it's another it's a very good run. We definitely did clonk. The oil pan got damaged, and it's bent the hood ever so slightly, but it's 2 successful jumps with this. We're going for one more. We're trying to go for the perfect. We just need a little bit less speed. Because it's got so much power, the whole lifting and then accelerating again at the bottom of the jump, I don't have to worry so much about this one, because it can pick up speed still while going uphill. There we go, it's 116 miles an hour. And that is... it still broke the oil pan. It wasn't on the landing, though. Ooh, and I've lost control of it. It's bouncing about over the crests. I was trying not to lock the wheels up, is the difficult part there. I should have possibly just locked it up. It still broke the oil pan, though, on the landings. I think because the suspension's so soft, it's compressing it so much on that landing, whereas the touring car didn't have it. It's a very bumpy road. You can see the bumps down here. So it actually did the initial bit fine, but as it got to the further bits along, the suspension compresses so much the oil pan's hitting the floor. So not quite as perfect as the Japanese touring car, but yeah, the supercharged Moonhawk, very capable indeed. Now, we have got something very silly up next. I am curious to see how this is going to behave with this challenge. This is the, well, Lego car. There's a whole huge amount of configurations and whatnot for this. It's an absolutely amazing mod, this. I've gone for the Group B spec. I figured this is going to be my best chance at surviving. The impact, it needs a lot of power, naturally. Although I am slightly worried it may not have enough speed. Or the bigger concern here, okay, we've got more than enough speed. We ran out of gears, but that's fine, 127. The bigger concern is, yeah, we were bouncing around so much on the suspension. It's going to be a big hit. Oh, it's gone. Okay, it's got the speed to do it. We had to do a flat-out run. The control is the problem. Funnily enough, Lego suspension, not really designed for this, as bits of Lego tumble down a hill. Okay, we have found it in a tree. The trick will definitely be keeping control of it. Maybe the rally. I've gone for the rally spec because I'm not sure what's going to happen with the big hit on the other side of the jump. But then that does throw up the. Oh god, we still go very fast there. It flies all manners of weird in the air. Oh, it's going to be a big roll. This might be survivable if it doesn't clonk a tree or fall. The engine's broken and the drive shaft is gone. Oh, it is going to land back on its wheels. Not as big a crash as the first one. Yeah, so the concerning part with this is all the bumps, all the compressions in the road, sort of moving the car about. It makes keeping it in a straight line, keeping it under control, a real problem here. And we didn't have this issue with the Moonhawk, for example. Ooh. We did go a bit fast. This thing is very, very quick, so we might get away with a little bit more caution down here. I mean, we do need to be going quickly. That could still be enough. It flies a little bit funky in the air, but it's a bit closer to the floor. Oh, it's a big hit on the it's a big hit on the landing again. The flying peculiarly in the air is the problem, I guess, there as well. So not only are we dealing with all the bumps on the approach, and there would, in theory, be bumps on the landing as well to have issues with, but it just won't go fly in a straight line. And twisting mid-air is a really big problem, because it's just going to screw... The twisting in mid-air just guarantees you're going to have this huge roll on the landing. Now, the rolls can be advantageous in dissipating energy, not, immediately snapping drive shafts. When it bounces around as much as this, it's going to be a problem. The Lego car is not going to make it across the jump. Our penultimate vehicle is ready to go. This is the electric Tog Rak. I'm curious to see what might happen with this one. The speed is a potential concern here. I don't know what is going to happen with this. I don't know how. I think it's quite powerful. I think it's quite fast, but the landing is going to be an interesting one because this is not. I don't think this has the strongest suspension in the world. We are flat out. Oh, we're not fast enough. Uh-oh. Why did that slam on the brakes mid-air? I didn't touch the brakes. Impact was detected. It was quite a big one. Now, interestingly, so we were all-wheel drive. Can we class this? Okay, it has lost steering. It has still got drive, but it has lost steering at the front end. You know, funnily enough, smashed to pieces. Ooh, that could be a problem. I didn't grab the brakes in the air and the car put them on, so I'm wondering whether this has got some impact detection. The modern safety systems obviously are freaking out when it was in the air. That's interesting. That's very curious. I don't know how we're going to beat that. Either way, we will go again. We're going to have to hope. This is another one where we're going to have to hope the bounce is lucky. I feel like we may be slightly slower than the van and the Sega, which means we're landing. Yeah, it's putting. Oh, okay, that time there we landed really harshly. In fact, so harshly, I think it spat its front motor out. Oh, well, it's still there, but it's connected by invisible tethers, pretty much. Oh, that hit there would definitely not. Wait, hold on. It is. No, surely that's not. I don't know how it moved. It weirdly does. The rear has still got some drive in it. I've got no steering, funnily enough. I've got, well, not really got a front end, but yeah, the rear drivetrain is still going. How do I do this? So I think what it is, I think I've just figured out, if I lift off the accelerator, the electrical system is applying a brake of some description in this, which is a problem. What do I want to do? I mean, again, we're getting caught on that lip. I feel like the trick is going to be, we might actually, again, this is another one where I think we're going to have to lift a little bit. I mean, that's a problem for us because trying to judge this, that's 106. That's not going to be enough, I don't think. Oh, it might be. It might be perfect. Land on the roof. That is perfect. That is absolutely perfect for survivability because while it is upside down and we will have to node grab the car onto its wheels, which is allowed, we are pulled off a side skirt. I mean, the steering wheel is legitimately the highest point on this car. However, it does still, or it has lost one. Oh no, it has lost steering. Okay, okay, realistically, that's as good as you're ever going to get. As I said before, you want to actually land on the roof because that can use, all the force can go into crushing the roof and that doesn't break any of the drivability aspects of the car, ignoring the fact that it would have decapitated anybody in it. However, the initial bounce that we did to even get it there obviously broke all of the steering in the car. That is a shame. I also love how apparently the hood bit still works. The door, funnily enough, don't think the doors work on that after such a heavy crash. I mean, it doesn't. You'd struggle to tell what it was if it wasn't for the fact the wheels were so obvious. Certainly from the front, you would struggle. That angle would be tough without the wheels. Yeah, spectacular crash. Shame it didn't survive with the steering in one piece. Our final vehicle to take on the Canyon Jump is the Formula 4 car. This thing is an interesting one. The reason why I've included it here is because... Oh, actually, ended up shuffling a bit further forward than we should have been. The reason I've included it is aero. Now, we should have the speed. I've gone for the low downforce configuration because ultimately we need the acceleration. But I don't know what this is going to do in the air. I'm expecting some funky weirdness, which should be entertaining, at least. Speed-wise is about perfect. Oh, you go nose first into the ground. I was hoping for more funky weirdness, if I'm honest. I guess it kind of makes sense that that would be what would happen. Alright, I say thinking logically, the downforce in a Formula car is going to be sort of trying to push it into the ground, so we are going forward. The downforce is going to be pushing it down, so it's going to not be jumping as far, and it's going to be nosing, in theory, nosing down. That is a very good, an interesting problem. How do you beat that? Because if I'll do the same thing again here. So we're going to try something. I'm going to try the whole get airborne twisted slightly. It helped. I mean, it helped. We got further. I wonder how far. This would have to go seriously quickly to make that jump. Surprisingly, we do still have some drive to the rear. Yeah. There's a bit of me that's slightly disappointed because I was expecting it to weave around in the air or do something, but it's kind of making... It's doing sort of what it probably should be doing. I was just hoping for sillier. Yeah, I don't really know what else we can do. Because anything else, the last thing I'm gonna try is I'm gonna try and launch it off the left-hand side. The reason why is I'm hoping the way that it takes off is going to twist it and encourage it to fly in a strange way, which it didn't really. Nope. The Formula 4 car is, funnily enough, not very good at jumping the canyon. I mean, it's got more than enough speed, but there's so much downforce that it actually makes completing the jump a problem. I mean, in theory, if you went in reverse and could go fast enough, you could get lift out of it, but that certainly won't go fast enough in reverse. You won't have the gearing. Yeah, in trying to... Basically, I was trying to make it as unstable in the air as possible to try and stop it from just being dragged straight down, which is a weird way to go about it. It didn't work at the end of the day. Who would have thought a K-truck is better than a Formula 4 car? Certainly not me. Certainly not me. But there we go. That is going to be it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.